Okay, today, this is assignment number 4. We are doing 2-point perspective. You need to make sure you write down the project and make sure you write down the vocabulary words on your slides right now. Pause this video, make sure you're on your 5th slide, and you title it 2-point perspective and put the vocabulary words that were at the beginning of this video. Okay, so what you're going to do is you are going to have a horizon line. I'm going to do mine in a dark color so that you're able to see it, but I'd rather you use a better light pen. You're basically going to make a horizontal and a vertical line. You need to be able to delete your pen marks, so you want to make sure you're doing it lightly, and I want to make sure that you're able to see this before anything else. Okay, so you need to make a point at one end and a point at another end. You need to come in just a little bit on this end and maybe some on this end. And then you are going to connect the dots to make it look like a kite. Okay. Once your kite is made, you need to erase the outer edges of your lines because you won't be using them. Now, this is not an easy project to do because you have to think of your initials, and I recommend that you realize that your letters are going to get smaller as they go to here. And the reason you are going to do your initials, if you have 4, you're going to have 2 on the side and 2 on the side. If you have 3, you're going to have 1 on this side, 1 right in the middle, and 1 on the end. Okay, I will provide you with a grid that has all the letters on them, but you are going to have to make your own grid on this. So what you will need to do is make sure that you have ruler width wide on here. Let's just go ahead and change that where you make just your first and last name initials, because this will make it a little easier on you. Okay, so you have 3 sections there, and you're going to have 3 sections on this end. Okay. Right, now you're going to have 5 sections going down. So if I were you, I would measure the length of your piece, and I've got it about 9.5. Or let's change it, 9.5. We're going to do a little math, and yes, math is required in art. So you're going to divide this by 5, okay? So this is going to actually be only 1 inch. 5 into 9 is 4. And then you have your 45 because you dropped your 5 down. Now, what's going to make 45? A 9. So you're going to have 1 inches and it's a 0.9. So let's change it to a little bit smaller. You'll have a little extra at the top. and I'd rather you have it that way. So let's go 1 and let's do it in fractions. It's either 1.75 or it is 1 3/4. Okay, so you need to make sure you're looking at your ruler correctly. Start at the bottom, and if I were you, I have a ruler that has all of those little measurements in there. But if you are looking at 3/4, let's take a look at an inch mark here. So if I'm doing an inch, this is 1 inch right there. So it's 1 inch here, and this is my 0. The half mark, oops, I got it upside down. This is my centimeters, so let's try that again. Okay, my half mark is right here, so that's a little, well, we're going to kind of go here. This would be my half mark, which is the middle one. Okay, and then you have these two other sections here, which is your 4th mark, 1/4 mark. Okay, so we also have another inch. This is where learning math is very vital to your education, especially learning how to read a ruler. If you can't read a ruler, we're in trouble. Okay, so we have half a mark here. We're not going to go all the way to the 2, and we're not going to go as far as the 0.9. We're going to go to 0.75, as if it's 75 cents. So this would be 1/4, 1/4. Okay. If I change the colors, it'd be easier, but okay, so we're definitely going to include this 1 inch mark. Now each of these sections up to a half, your number 2 is 1/4 segments. So we do know that $1.75 is actually 3/4. So this is 1, 2, 3. It is 3/4. Okay, so you're going to do it as 1 inch and 3/4. So it's at that second 1/4 mark, or the one big mark between the half and the 2 that you're going to use. Start at the bottom and find your 1 and 1.75 marks, and let's see if we can mark it. It makes it a little easier if you mark it on your ruler. It's easier to find when you move up. That's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're going to have to go to 1.5. Either that or I'm not looking at the ruler right. Okay, we're going to have to go to this ruler. There it is. Now let's try it. 1, 2, 3. So let's do 1.5 instead, so it gives us the distance. Well, there's 1.5 right there. There's 1.5 right there. That's 2, 3. So that's not going to work. Okay, so let's just try 1 inch. The reason I'm doing this and letting you watch me is so that we can make mistakes. Let's try 1.25. So that would be 1. You notice I marked the ruler. 2, 3, 4. Okay, that definitely is not going to leave us with 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that one's too small. Okay, so let's try it again, and we're going to do 1 inch. Either that or I just measured it wrong using the wrong side of the ruler. So 1 inch, 1 inch, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Perfect. So we're going to take and start at this bottom 1 inch mark, and just like we did the name, we are going to make a line, and we're going to go to the next 1 inch mark. And you notice I'm not going all the way through, and I'm not freehanding it. You cannot freehand any of this. This is all ruler work, and it's very important that you understand that, because if you're not using your ruler, you will end up having some problems later on. So you want to make sure your pencil, your ruler is up against that line that you made and the dot. If you go a little bit past that, don't worry about that. We're going to fix that here in just a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing on this other side. I'm going to take the ruler and move it to the edge of this corner here. You notice the wall is looking like it's got windows now. It is very, very important that you're using your ruler. I cannot stress it enough. If you are ever planning on building anything, making anything, measuring tape and a ruler are the most important things to a project. Ask any grandpa, any dad who ever works in construction, and they will tell you. Okay, so now I don't really need this little middle line anymore. This kind of just was my guide. Okay, so now I'm going to look at my grid paper of all of my letters, and you'll need to make sure that you save them on your slides that you make. Okay, I know what my name is supposed to be in the grid letters. I know what a B is. I'm just going to do the B and the H. Okay, I'm going to do it in dark markers. You should not. I'm just doing it so that you can see it. This is the outside edge. Remember, all letters are 3 blocks wide and 5 blocks tall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I should have only gone to here. But I think I might change that. Okay, I do know that I need to go to this section and this section. We're going to make a curve here and up 1, a curve here and down 1, and then right here in the middle we're going to join this part of our B. I know it looks funny, but that's because of perspective. It looks strange. Okay, I'm using these lines here as my guide. Okay, so it looks like the name is getting bigger, and it looks like it has a little bit of a guide here. Okay, so now my last name starts with a T, so I'm going to join them close together. 1, 2, 3. These are fairly easy to do. Now, if you have a curved letter like the letter S, I will help you get that made, because I know some students have the letter S, and it's usually the hardest one to do. Okay, so now I have my 2-point perspective letters. Okay, 2-point perspective. Okay, so the vocabulary words that go with this, what have we done so far? We've made lines and shapes. Now the other one had depth. Now this also has depth automatically because it's coming straight from here to here, so it does have depth. And that's a little bit different. The other one we made into a form. This one we are not. Okay, so now we're going to do the same method that we did for the coloring. So we're going to have color and value. Okay, now doing it this way is a little bit different. You may choose different colors, but I'm going to stick with the same one. The bottom shape is going to have a lot of heavy color. I'm going to cover it really heavy, so that's why you see me going in several different directions. I want it really super heavy. Now this one, I'm not going to color so heavy. It's the pink that I go over that's going to make it heavier. Just trying to make sure I have all of those edges. Alright, so now the same with this section here. All of this here is going to be colored dark purple. Okay,